All right, welcome back to Fireside Football, everybody. It has been about a week since free agency began, and honestly, the biggest news keeps being trades. There's like a new trade every freaking day.
Feels like this is the biggest NFL offseason ever, maybe? I don't know.
I
It's,
think
it's been crazy.
I think so too. I mean, it's just like every day there's something, sometimes more than one thing.
It
Um,
was like to start it off, it was like Brady just all of a sudden, oh, I'm on retiring. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
that really kicked it off and set the tone.
yeah. Oh my god, it's just been like it's the sad part is like this is great and exciting, and then we're gonna have the draft, and that's gonna be great and exciting, and then we're gonna have nothing for like 3 months, and it's gonna suck. And especially when your team has so much like overhaul, like for example the Colts do, I'm gonna be so excited to watch them play with this like new look quarterback and pass rushers and whatnot, and I'm gonna have to wait for 3 months, but we'll get to that later. Right now, probably the biggest news of the week, Deshaun Watson surprisingly chose the Browns after apparently having narrowed it down to the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons. Um, the trade, for those of you who don't know, and I wouldn't blame you because it's a lot. The Browns are sending their 2022, 2023, 2024 firsts, a 2023 third, a 2024 fourth, and they're also sending a 2022 fourth. So it's a lot of picks. In exchange, they get Watson and a 2024 sixth rounder. So
I
what
can't believe they didn't get Baker Mayfield. I mean, they must have said no. He must have been in the deal. They must have just gone, and now we don't want to take on his salary. Who can keep him? Like,
yeah,
it's just, yeah, but great trade for, I guess, the Texans. You know what I mean? I feel like Deshaun Watson could have sat there and went, well, I could either sit here and basically retire, and you can get nothing for me, or you could trade me now for whatever they give you. So it's good that they did get 3 first-round picks out of it. I think it was the second trade ever that has had 3 first-round picks traded for a player.
Herschel. It was Herschel Walker, the first one, right?
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty huge. You made a
Yeah.
little bit of history there, which is good for the Browns. I mean, what you got a good quarterback finally as a Browns fan, you got a good quarterback. But of course, there's a smear all over it, and you're just sitting there like, what? It's just, I'm so sorry, Browns fans. I'm so sorry. Like it's great. It's great that you got a good quarterback, but it's the good quarterback that every single person's gonna hate now. It's gonna make Aaron Rodgers' hate last season look like absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is just an idiot. Deshaun Watson, I mean, if we use our brains, probably did
Probably good.
did it.
Probably at least
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here, but I would also commend I mean, I almost want to throw up saying it. I would also commend the Texans because I mean, you get 3 first round picks for essentially. I mean, they had no leverage basically. Like
Yeah,
everybody knew Watson wanted out, and they still get 3 first for him. So that was a fantastic job by the Texans. I hope they absolutely whiff on every single one of those firsts. But from a purely like trade perspective, I think they did a really nice job here. I mean, like you said, it's one of the biggest trades of all time. And the fact that they did it with an asset that did not want to be there, and it was very public that he didn't want to be there, and he had legal troubles, is crazy to me. And it just really shows how valuable an elite quarterback is in the NFL. Like what lengths teams will go to, and what things they will ignore to get a guy that can throw the football really well. It's insane.
it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, obviously, it seems like they're expecting he's going to get suspended next year for a certain amount of time. What do you think the Browns are going to look like next year? How many games do you think they'll win?
I mean, let's agree on an amount of games suspended here. I'm gonna go 8.
Yeah, I think it's going to be between 6 and 10.
So let's go 8 games with good old Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. Just when you think the league's done with him, some team goes, "Hey, Jacoby, we'll take you. Come on, man." I mean, I think Jacoby in those 8 games, I think he'll win 2, 3. So there'll be 3-5 there, and then what? There's 9 games left. I'd say they go 5-4. So that's what, 8-9. So I'd say they missed the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, their division isn't exactly easy. You have the Super Bowl losers and the Bengals, and you have. I don't know. I would rather have Joe Burrow than Deshaun
And
Watson personally.
if they play the AFC West, I don't know what division they play.
We do.
We all know.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Prayers up.
Man, they're just gonna rail through your division, minus you guys, but it's just gonna be a shitstorm.
I think we'll somehow win 2 of those games, but yeah, I think the Browns will be like, if they do get in the playoffs, I think they might. It'll be like as a 7 seed, and it'll take a while for Watson to get going because I mean the guy has not played football in over a year, and he won't for like a year and a half by that point. But I just like this whole situation makes me so disappointed in the league. You know, like it came out that like the Browns didn't even talk to any of the accusers, and it's like, why wouldn't you do that, Browns? Like you said that you did thorough research or whatever, and God, it's just like the things people will do for a great quarterback. And I don't even know if he's great. I think he's top 10, but
I hope he sucks. I hope he sucks.
I hope he sucks too. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you phrased it perfectly. The Browns fans, oh, I feel so bad for them. Like, you finally get your guy, and your guy is a sexual offender, a sexual predator, and you can't really feel good about him. I mean, I know how I would feel if he were on the Colts. I would feel very, very conflicted, and I wouldn't feel very good every time he took the field.
It's like, what if Big Ben had 21 more women accusing him at the same time, and then had to go to court and everything? Like, how much more different would people feel about Big Ben? I really wonder about that.
Yeah.
1 to 21, like it's a very big difference.
And the thing that gets me,
rape, and I don't think any of the Deshaun Watson girls were raped. I don't get into all of that, but
yeah, I think the thing that really gets me about the Deshaun Watson thing is that he initially said that there was no sexual content, there was no like contact or anything. There was nothing going on, and then as more women piled on, he shifted. Yeah, his tone shifted. Well, it was consensual. It's like, you don't do that. I don't think if you're innocent, right? Like maybe you do because you're embarrassed, but like, yeah, I wouldn't feel great if I'm a Browns fan. And I know a lot of Browns fans have been leaving the fandom, which I don't know if I could do.
It's crazy how you go through all of that and then you just say, that's it.
I'm done.
I don't know. I think that's kind of weak fans there, but I guess I understand it. I don't know.
I could understand it if I was like, if I'm a woman, absolutely. Like, I don't know if I would want to root for a team that just did not give a shit about.
I guess if you're also a woman, you wouldn't ever be a Commanders fan. You know what I mean? Like,
God. I mean, the whole situation it's gross, and I hope he gets suspended for like a whole year. That would be nice, but I don't think it'll happen because the league is the league. But enough about Deshaun Watson. Let's go on to Davante Adams, traded from the Packers to the Raiders for the Raiders' first and second round picks in 2022. Hopefully the Packers can get some receivers now because they literally have like none. But the Raiders get Davante Adams, who's arguably the best receiver in the league, and really adds him to an already pretty darn good offense. I mean, you have Darren Waller, you've got Hunter Renfrow, you've got Jacobs. Like it's pretty, and Carr's not a bad quarterback at all. So like, if they were in any other division, I'd call them favorites, but they are in like probably the best division of all time.
So. And they might finish last, which is absolutely insane. It's just they have the perfect offense of what you're looking for. You know what I mean? You got the number one receiver, you have the slot receiver, you have the receiving tight end, you have a really good all-around running back in Josh Jacobs, a good quarterback in Derek Carr. I don't know about their offensive line, but I think it's at least average.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna pick them to win their division. It's crazy. It's crazy how good that offense is. And I mean, they added Chandler Jones, but I don't know. Back to Devontae Adams. I think that offense is gonna be crazy this year. I think interdivision games are gonna average 80 total points. Like, it's gonna be insanity every time they play each other. I say Devontae Adams easily cracks 1,400 yards, like 12 TDs.
Well, they all have good defenses too. I mean, I would say the Raiders have the worst. Maybe the Chiefs have the worst, but I would say it's either the Raiders or the Chiefs in that division who have the worst defense. But
Raiders have a pretty good defense.
They do. That defense is scary.
J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack. My
goodness. I mean, Devontae Adams is not going to have a good time in certain games when you've got corners like that and linebackers over the middle. Like, it's I've never seen a division so competitive. And but yeah, I think Devontae Adams is going to make Carr look even better than he has looked in previous years. I think we could potentially be talking about Carr as like a top 12 guy if he's not already. I would argue that he might be already a top 12 guy, but he could look very, very good with these weapons at his disposal because he's got top 5 tight end. He's got a top 5 receiver. He's got, like he's probably one of the best slot receivers in the league. I mean, he tore the Colts up when we played him. He's got weapons. And if that defense can just be about average and just get a lot of turnovers, it could be a deadly Raiders team that I think could be better than we think they might be. Maybe they'll finish 3rd in their division. Could you imagine if they finished 1st? They were just like...
They could. Could you imagine if the Chiefs somehow missed the playoffs because they lose like 5 of their 6 divisional games or some shit like that? That'd be insane.
I love it.
Oh my goodness. I don't think it'd ever happen, especially with the 7th seed. But
well, they have to lose. They're destined to lose in the divisional round this year.
Yeah, because they're going down on the down turn.
Yeah, because they win the Super Bowl, then they lose the Super Bowl, and they lose the AFC Championship. Now they got to lose in the divisional round.
Okay.
So they've only got 2 more years of making the playoffs. Then they're in for a long spell of like 8 wins, 7 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins.
Yeah. Plus Patrick Mahomes' contract. I don't know. I think next year it starts being not like this coming year, but the year after that, it starts coming like $45 million a year or something like that.
God, what a division!
I'm sure they'll restructure it for forever, and so it's always like a $30 million cap hit and other caps in these imaginary future years that never come. But
this is driving me crazy. Like, it feels like this has just come out of nowhere. Like, it never felt like teams were doing this until like 5 years ago, and like now the cap doesn't mean anything, and it sucks because like the Colts are the only team in the NFL, it feels like, that actually like tries to not bend the cap and like plays by the rules. And I'm looking at the Saints who were under the cap by like $80 million. They're signing guys and stuff. And it's like, what? It's frustrating. It's like baseball. Like, it feels like we're the A's and everybody else is the Yankees. And it's like, fuck. But sticking in that division, Khalil Mack to the Chargers. What did you think about this move? Because I think he's still a good player. He's not like 5 years ago, Khalil Mack, but he's still a pretty darn good linebacker, I think.
Oh my goodness. Khalil Mack on the other side of Joey Bosa with Derwin James and J.C. Jackson in the secondary. It's just, and I don't know who their linebacker is that they drafted in the first round a couple of years ago, but he's pretty good too. That defense is just going to be all around really fucking good. Like, it's going to be a really good defense. I think best in the league, honestly, if I had to say right now, and I'm excited to see what they could do. I would say Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa easily combined for 30 sacks.
I think the only thing that will prevent them from being the best defense is just lack of continuity. They're new. But I'm not looking forward to having my new boy Matt Ryan have to endure the pass rush of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. But God, I mean, there's been such an exodus to this division, and honestly, the Chargers might have had so far one of the best off seasons of any team. I mean, you re-sign Mike Williams, you get Justin Case Jackson, you get Khalil Mack. It's just like smart moves that add star power to your team, and I definitely think this gets them over the hump and into the playoffs next year. I'd be shocked if they miss the playoffs.
Same.
All right, this one was pretty wild. Christian Kirk is now the 6th highest paid receiver in the league.
I mean, on what the low end, it's 18 mil a year. On the high end, it's what 21 and a half.
Yeah, so in total, it's 4 years, 72 to $84 million. And I don't think he'll get the 84 million, but yeah, what are you doing, Jaguars?
What are you
doing?
It's absolutely ridiculous how poorly run the Jaguars are. First of all, the fans know it. The fans showed up as clowns, as fucking clowns. And you guys, and they fucking
And
beat
they fucking
you guys.
won.
They
They fucking won.
And they trashed you guys so fucking hard. And then what do you do to the fans? What do you do to reward them? You say, oh, not only are we not going to move on from Bulky, but we're going to turn down the best fucking candidate we could ever ask for as a head coach in Byron Leftwich because he doesn't believe in Bulky. Rightfully so, because Bulky goes and ruins the wide receiver market by giving Christian Kirk all of this money. I mean, maybe he'll be worth it. You know what I mean? I don't see it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sorry, Jaguars fans. It's not going to get better until Bulky's gone.
God, you really had to go there with the clown mask game, didn't you? You really had to go back to that game. Yeah, I kind of wanted Christian Kirk because we need a second receiver. We don't have one. Our receiving core is trash outside of Pittman, but I didn't want to pay Christian Kirk like
$20 million a year.
No, I didn't want to pay him like $14 million a year. Yet alone what he got. Like it's absurd. It is absurd. He has not had a 1,000-yard season in his career, and he is being paid like he's had 5 of them. Like it's bonkers, and I think that he's going to end up getting cut in like a few years, and the Jags are going to look at this like, oh, well, that was another terrible signing. And then that's why they always have money, because they never re-sign any of their own players. They never draft good players.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
What they do, they trade them away because they don't want to re-sign.
Yeah. God damn it, Jaguars. But, who knows? Maybe Trevor Lawrence will finally turn things around for them. I sincerely hope not. But moving on to the next one. Famous Jameis is staying in New Orleans, where he will presumably be the starting quarterback. What do you think about this move?
I mean, I like it. They started off really well with him last year. Michael Thomas is probably playing, right? I feel like we haven't seen Michael Thomas play in forever. He kind of feels like a myth. You know what I mean? Like, does Michael Thomas exist? But if Michael Thomas plays, it's even better. And I think Jameis Winston, after this contract, I don't know. I feel like I keep saying he's about to get a big contract. He never does. I think he's in line for one after these 2 years. I think he's going to play well. I don't think the Saints make the playoffs, though, but I think he'll play well.
It's possible. I think they might make the playoffs because the NFC is weaker and
Falcons suck.
Panthers suck. They have the Buccaneers number. So that's 6 wins right there. So, yeah, I think they definitely get in as a wild card because that defense is still very good. And if you get Michael Thomas back, they still have some good running backs. I think they have a shot. Don't think they'll go anywhere in the playoffs, but you're right. Jameis Winston, before he got hurt, he had 14 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, which is a lot better than 30 for 30, like he had the years before with the Buccaneers. I was willing to give him a shot on the Colts. I was open to it for a year. I didn't want to commit to him long term, obviously, but I was open to seeing what he could do for a year. But obviously that didn't come to transpire. And I think he and the Saints both made the right move. It'll be interesting to see if he reverts back to his Bucks form now that Sean Payton isn't there. But I think as of right now, it was a good move for the Saints, and I think it's probably the best place for famous Jameis to hang his hat for a couple of years and maybe turn it into that big contract, that fabled big contract that you've been saying he's going to get for like 4 years. Matt Ryan from that division is also on the move. This is the big news of today, March 21st. Finally, we have a freaking quarterback. I can't tell you how uncomfortable it was not having one for like,
oh my goodness, a whole what, a week and a half, 2
couple
weeks.
Yeah, just the uncertainty was killing me. So in that sense, I'm glad it's over. But in the last week, this has really grown on me, the idea of getting Matt Ryan, because he's not exactly a Phillip Rivers type where it's only going to be like a 1-year thing. But at the same time, we're not going to commit to him for 5-10 years. So I think that we can start him for 2-3 years tops, go draft a guy next year, basically do what the Chiefs did with Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith. Let's let Matt Ryan be our Alex Smith, though I think that he potentially could be a bit better. And then let's get a Patrick Mahomes, hopefully, in next year's draft, which will be stacked. I'm willing to trade whatever the fuck it takes to get a young buck, but we need to stop just taking Band-Aids and sticking them on. We need to finally make a shot at a guy in the draft. And this is the best of both worlds. We get to probably keep competing with Matt Ryan while we train a young guy to be our future. So I'm pretty happy with this, especially since we only gave up a third. And it wasn't even our best third. We gave up the worst one. And I think that Matt Ryan can succeed in this offense. It'd be really great if we got him another receiver, but I guess we'll have to see. What are your thoughts about the trade from an outsider's perspective?
I mean, it's the perfect trade for the Colts. You know, Matt Ryan with his contract, it's honestly a great contract today in the NFL. I think it's $24 million the first year, $28 million the second year. 2 years is perfect. You know what I mean? Quarterback class isn't great this year. Don't want to really draft a quarterback. Gives you a great time to just play with Matt Ryan, knowing that you have him for another year after that, and you can draft a quarterback in 2023. Go all in 2023 if you really want to for a quarterback. Kind of like when I don't know if the Eagles did, or no, I'm sorry, the Browns. No, who traded up the Rams when the Rams traded up, right? From because both teams traded. I'm trying to think about that draft where it was the Browns and the Titans had the first and second overall pick.
Yeah.
And so it was because Jared Goff was the number 1 overall pick. Anyway, I see you guys doing like a 15 overall pick to like 1 overall trade, like a huge move up in 2023. But you give up a 3rd round pick, which is crazy. And Matt Ryan is a quarterback that can win you a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You have a good defense. You have at least one good receiver. You have a good offensive line, a really fucking good running back. It's just, if you have a good coached team, you should make the playoffs, especially in your division, because I think the Titans are going to fucking suck. Here I go, hating on the Titans again.
It's starting up again, folks. Let's go.
But yeah, like I really think you guys are going to be maybe the best team you've been in like 3 years, 4 years with Matt Ryan, because I think he's going to be better than Phillip Rivers was. I think he's going to be better than Carson Wentz was, and he's sure as fuck going to be better than Jacoby Brissett was.
I think I hope so, because I think that he's got a better arm than Phillip Rivers, which was probably my biggest knock on Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers had a noodle arm. He's definitely going to make the easy throws where Carson Wentz like refused to do it. It's like Carson Wentz was playing Madden and he was like, you know what? Madden is too easy. I'm going to only throw the ball 12 yards or more down the field. And I'm not going to take the easy checkdowns. Like, screw it. I'm going to throw into triple coverage against the Titans in overtime with the game on the line. Screw it. Even though Jonathan Taylor's right here in front of me, I don't need to throw to him. He's not a good player or anything. So I think Matt Ryan will do that because he's got a pretty good knowledge of the game. I mean, he won freaking MVP. I'm not saying he's the same player that he was in 2016, but I still think he's potentially, with a good supporting cast around him, I think he can be a top 12 guy, maybe. I mean, he has had very little talent around him the last few years, especially last year. I've listened to a lot of Falcons fans say that that was like the worst team he's ever been on, and I think they still went 7-10, something like that,
Yeah.
which isn't good, but it's about average. So I'm excited. I think of all the options, this was probably the best one. I was a little torn between him and Baker. I didn't really want Baker because I didn't want to commit to Baker. And I feel like if we traded for Baker, we would have at least given him a few years, which could have set us back. So I'm happy with Matt Ryan for now. I would just like to formally apologize to Matt Ryan for comments that I have made in the past. I used to call him Matty Choke. I don't know why. I don't feel like he personally has choked that often. I wouldn't really put the Super Bowl loss on him. I think it's definitely on a Shanahan kind of thing. But yes, you're no longer Matty Choke, Matty Ice. You will be Matty Ice as long as you were on the Colts. A bit more Colts news. We traded Yannick Ngakoue. We traded for Yannick Ngakoue. We traded Rocky Ya-Sin, which I'm a little sad about because he was really coming into his own. But we get a pass rusher, which we've been thirsting for since Robert Mathis. I'm pretty excited about that. What did you think about this trade?
I think it's a great trade. I mean, I didn't know much about Rocky Sin, but I do know that Yannick Ngakoue is pretty good. Like he gets to the quarterback, which is something that every team needs, especially you guys these past couple of years.
God, yeah.
All around, I really like the trade. I don't know how your cornerback situation is looking now. That leaves a giant hole, but if it doesn't, I think it's a good trade.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's good for our cornerbacks. We definitely need another cornerback now. We still have Kenny Moore, who's one of the best like nickel cornerbacks in the league. And then we have Isaiah Rodgers, who's a young guy, and he's really freaking fast. And he was doing pretty well last year. He made some mistakes, but he's only this will be his third season. So hopefully he continues to grow. But I think that ultimately it came down to, would you rather have a good corner or would you rather have a good edge rusher? And in today's NFL, I'm of the opinion, and I guess the Colts were too, that you need an edge rusher before you need a good corner. Pass rush is so important. Just affecting the quarterback, affecting the most important position in the game is the key to success on defense. And finally, we freaking have one, because we've been having DeForest Buckner get double teamed like every play, and then we've had just a bunch of just a jumbled mixture of names trying to be our edge rush and getting like 4 sacks each, but never having that guy. So finally, we have that guy, and hopefully our defense will be even better than it's been in years past. So I'm pretty excited about this one. It's also one of the unique trades where you get just a great name for a great name. I mean, Rocky Ya-Sin is a sick name. And Yannick Ngakoue is a pretty sick name too. So yeah. Yeah. All right. And moving on to where will At Home with Baker Mayfield take place next year?
At Home with Baker Mayfield. Man, I kind of like the dark horse of him sitting out the full fucking year. I kind of like the dark horse option of that. I'm not going to lie to you. Of him playing hardball, and no team really fucking wanted him either. And then the whole situation just developing into fucking Baker Mayfield doesn't play. I guess if he had to go, I don't think the Panthers want him. And I mean, all of the fucking reports about the Browns and Deshaun Watson were bullshit. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers ones are bullshit as well. But I mean, not going to go there. The Falcons, I don't think they're trying to win right now. So yeah. I don't know why they would trade for Baker Mayfield. Who else is there that would trade for Baker Mayfield?
Seahawks, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. It'd have to be the Seahawks. But what are they going to give up for him?
If he does sit out.
Because Jimmy Garoppolo is out there too. You know what I mean?
We're going to talk about him in a second. I think it's crazy that the Niners have I feel like the Niners screwed this up. But if Baker Mayfield does sit out, what do you think they're going to do in the commercials?
They cut Jimmy Garoppolo?
I think they might.
Oh, I thought you said they did. I was like, no, breaking news to me.
No. But where do you think, if Baker Mayfield sits out, where do you think they're going to have these commercials? Because you can't put it in the Brown Stadium. It's going to be too awkward.
at his home. Like, it's just at his real home.
He's like,
And it's just like, and he's just sitting there watching Browns games, super fucking salty on the couch, like getting pissed off and everything.
or what if
I would,
he's
I would, if I would buy whatever product that it was selling, even if it wasn't, like, if another company ripped them off and did that, I'd buy whatever it was because it would be pure gold.
what if at the very first one he's getting like escorted out of the Brown Stadium by Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson's with Baker Mayfield's wife, and like she left him for Deshaun Watson, and he's getting kicked out of his house, and then the rest of the season and all the commercials he's just like actually homeless because nobody wants him, and he's just like crying in the rain.
It'd be funny if they went with the homeless take.
Yeah, he's really got to play it up. I mean, if he doesn't have a job in football, at least he can be an actor or something. But yeah, I'd say the Seahawks are probably going to be it for him. I mean, I am also surprised the Texans didn't at least want him in kind of a Jared Goff kind of way.
I can't believe the Steelers pulled the trigger on Mitch Trubisky so quick, and everybody was so goddamn high on that move.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if they were sitting here, they could probably look at the 49ers and the Browns and be like, hey guys, give you a 5th round pick for either whoever says yes first. And somebody probably would.
I don't think the Browns I don't think they'd get Baker just because it's in division, but they could have tried for Matt Ryan. I mean, they're in the same exact position as the Colts.
All these good quarterbacks on the move. And they went after Mitch fucking Trubisky.
Yeah. I think that's just the difference between the Colts and the Steelers. Like, we were patient and we just kind of let things play out. We let the dominoes fall. Whereas the Steelers were like, Mitch Trubisky, get over here. Get over here. So, yeah, I mean, it sucks for 2 weeks not having a quarterback, but I guess it was worth it. I'm sure as hell glad we didn't get Mitch Trubisky or something. But let's move on to Jimmy G, who is still a 49er. And it's funny because when the offseason started, it was basically presumed that the Colts were going to, or at least after we traded Carson Wentz, it was presumed that the Colts were going to get Jimmy G. Like, that was the only real guy available at the time. And then shit just started happening.
I mean, I think there's a chance nobody trades for Jimmy G and they cut him. That's why when you said they cut him,
yeah,
it sounded like a real possibility, but I know that happened. I just think nobody wants to give up anything. And supposedly John Lynch has been telling teams that he has an offer on the table for 2 second-round picks.
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
No.
Get out of here with that shit. That's absolutely ridiculous.
If Matt Ryan was worth a 3rd, there's no way in hell that Jimmy G is worth anything more than a 6th. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think they I think they get a 3rd for him, you know what I mean, at most. But there's not a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, you know what I mean?
There's really not.
The Seahawks. The Falcons signed Marcus Mariota, which I think they're fine with this year. So we'll see how that goes. I think they're going to be shit out of luck. And to save I think it's like $25 million they save if they cut him. So worth it. Like, especially when you have all these guys you have to re-sign.
What if the Giants do Baker Mayfield? You could go to the Giants.
Giants. I mean, I feel the Giants. You should trade for a bigger fish, man. You had such good draft capital. You know what I mean? Why don't you trade for one of these good quarterbacks? That's why they won't, because they believe in Daniel Jones because they're idiots. Because they're absolute idiots in New York. I don't know why. Could have had Russell Wilson. I guarantee you. Maybe Russell Wilson doesn't waive his no trade clause. Maybe that's why they haven't gone there, because all these quarterbacks don't want to waive their no trade clauses to go there. But
I don't know why they've given Daniel Jones. So, like, I feel like you should, in today's NFL, you know in 2 years if you've got your guy or not.
Yeah.
Usually even 1. Like, usually you can tell after 1. At no point was Daniel Jones, like, in my opinion, showing that he was elite quarterback material. And they're still just, I mean, these are his stats. I just pulled it up. His rookie year was actually his best year, if you believe it or not. He's only been worse since then. He completed 61% of his passes for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. So, like, I could understand, like, them wanting to give him another shot after that. Yeah. But then in 2020, he goes 62%, 2,900 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. And then 2021, 64%, 2,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So it's like, he's clearly not the guy. Like, why are you even trying? And again, I don't want to like be such a Colts homer, but like at least we gave up on Carson Wentz and didn't like fall for the sunken cost fallacy. Like at least we just admitted, yeah, we
You
screwed
got a
up.
lot for him. You know what I mean?
I'm pretty happy about it. But I feel like they need to do that with Daniel Jones. Just move on. Like I draft somebody this year for fuck's sake. Like it just whatever. Like just Daniel Jones is not your guy. You've got to do something else, Giants. Like you can't just stay stuck in quicksand. And also screw John Mara for that freaking taunting bullshit that he implemented. It makes the NFL so stupid. But we're not going to get into that. Now let's talk about some needs for the Patriots. I feel like we've not talked about the Patriots at all today. How is your offseason going?
What a rough start to the offseason. You know what I mean? I mean, we knew we were going to lose J.C. Jackson. Probably could have maintained him though on that contract. It wasn't a bad contract. I think $16.5 million a year. Not terrible for one of the better cornerbacks in the league. I'd say he's like top 7 if I had to put him on the list. It's not good. That's what I mean. We traded Marcus Cannon, not Marcus Cannon. Shit, what's his name? Our guard. Shaq Mason. We traded Shaq Mason, which is not great because he was a pretty good guard. But we'll probably just draft a guard. There's a guy in the Bengals that's coming from the Bills. That's a restricted free agent where I guess if we offer a contract to him, the Bills have the opportunity to match it. But he's gone to a bunch of places. I doubt we'll get him. I'm just glad that we got Marcus Cannon, or not Marcus Cannon. Why do I keep saying fucking Marcus Cannon? Trent Brown. I'm so excited to get Trent Brown back. It was such a huge addition. Huge because the guy's fucking 6'8" and 380 pounds. Literally a monster out there at right tackle. But he's so good. He's such a good offensive lineman. And I don't understand it because he only plays well for the Patriots. It's like Bill Belichick knows his secret code to whisper in his ear to make sure he plays well. It's been awesome. So I'm very excited that we got him. Hopefully he stays healthy because when he gets hurt, you know, I mean, we don't have him, and that fucking sucks because we don't have a tackle. It's like you're running for your life out there every play. Other offseason needs, I mean, we don't need a receiver. A receiver would be a nice luxury. I mean, we have enough guys in Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, and Jonnu Smith. That's a decent core. We have nice running back group, especially if we signed Leonard Fournette, which would be crazy.
I saw that.
Need a corner. We need a corner bad. I mean, Jalen Mills is our best corner, and the guy was a safety 2 years ago. Like, he's okay. Like he worked really well as a number 2, but I don't think he's gonna play well as a number 1. We're looking at Malcolm Butler, which I fucking love Malcolm Butler, so I'll take him back. Offseason needs other than that, just a guard, but you could draft a guard in like the 3rd, 4th round.
Yeah, definitely.
Coverage linebacker, that's what we need too. We don't have any linebackers that could run fast at all.
Did you? So I guess like from what I've seen, a lot of Patriots fans wanted a receiver. And
yeah, I mean, I want a receiver, but I mean, the reality of the situation is offensive line and defense is more important than having a good receiving core. We have an okay receiving core and a bad secondary right now, and not a great offensive line. I mean, we did re-sign a tackle, but we're going to need a tackle in the future or a guard, you know what I mean? So we need good linebackers. That's fading. It's just, there's a lot more opportunity. There's a lot more places that need the help. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a lot of good guys there in the first round, so I would like for them to take a receiver. But if they take, I don't know, a really good linebacker or a tackle or a corner at the spot, as long as it's not some fucking typical Patriots out of the blue, should have been 3rd round pick, drafted him way too goddamn high. As long as it's not that, I'll be happy with it. You know, who do I want? Who do I want at number 21 overall? I want Jameson Williams. I want fucking Jameson Williams. He's so goddamn blazing fast. We haven't had that ever. We had Randy Moss. That was the only time we had a fast wide receiver. We had Philip Dorsett. Didn't work out too great. We had
God.
Nelson Aguilar. Doesn't work out too great because I just don't think they're that good of speed receivers, and I'd be very excited to have one.
I remember being so disappointed when we drafted Philip Dorsett. I like remember where I was, what I was doing, and yeah, it's like we need offensive line. Why did you draft a TY clown?
I'm being so upset when we drafted Sony Michel. I went, oh, running back.
I remember being like confused when we drafted Jonathan Taylor because we had Marlon Mack, who was coming off of like a 1,100-yard season.
Yeah.
Then we drafted Jonathan Taylor, and that was clearly the right move.
Marlon Mack like tore his ACL or killed
yeah,
him like that.
Yeah. I feel like the Patriots and the Colts are in like very similar boats in terms of like
our receiving core is a little bit better than yours, just because
I think
have a couple
generally
of guys. Henry's, I'd say, is a pretty good tight end. I really fucking like Kendrick Bourne, man. Like I think Kendrick Bourne, if you were gonna like think he's a pretty good receiver after next year, Jacoby Myers is okay. Every Patriots fan's higher on Jacoby Myers than I am. He's pretty good. And Nelson Aguilar, he's all right. Like he's not a bad receiver.
Yeah, I think you've just got more guys.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But Pittman,
I think Pittman's better than all of them. Like I'll give you that.
I hope Pittman is like a god next year, but I guess I hope that we use Nyheim Hines better in the receiving game because Carson Wentz like did not like throwing to Nyheim Hines for some reason. But I would say that we just have a lot of similar needs to you for switching over to Colts offseason needs. We need like 2 receivers. We just let Zach Pascal walk. He was like our number 2, and he was terrible as a number 2. He's a solid like number 4, but he's not a good number 2. We have, I don't know if TY is coming back. Doesn't sound like it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up taking a cheap deal. But outside of TY, we have Michael Pittman. We have Ashton Doolin, who's like more of a special teams guy. We have Paris Campbell, who's good for about 3 games a year.
Paris Campbell, 17 targets a season.
I was so sure he was going to finish this. I thought he was going to play every game last year, or at least most of them. And then I literally just started laughing when I saw that he was out for the year. It's like, this is ridiculous, man. Like,
did he like catch like a 50-yard touchdown, then get hurt and then be out for the year?
He caught the 50-yard touchdown, bounced up, celebrated, gave no indication that anything was wrong, and then never played again.
He was out for the fucking year. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness.
It's insane. Because he hasn't been bad when he's played. That's the worst part. It's like he's been pretty good. And he just somebody looks at him the wrong way and he snaps in half. It's like, God. So yeah, we need a couple receivers, preferably ones that aren't total ass. I'm willing to take like B tier receivers. Just give me a B tier receiver. If we got Jarvis Landry somehow, that would be incredible.
We could trade for N'Keal Harry.
I don't want N'Keal Harry.
You probably trade for Nelson Aguilar, realistically. We're trying to offload him.
I don't want him. But yeah, I would say primarily we need receivers. We need a left tackle. Eric Fisher was not good last year. He lost us games. That's how bad he was. Like I think we win the Bucks game if he doesn't play like garbage. We need a corner. We probably need like another safety. If we get Tyrann Mathieu, that'd be really sick. But that's about it. And then hopefully a young Buck quarterback in the next couple of years. But as for this offseason, definitely left tackle, definitely receiver. And I think defense is pretty solid outside of maybe getting a corner. So yeah, similar needs to you guys. I really feel like we're on the same tier, like in terms of like how good we are, because a lot of question marks, a lot of turnover from last year, and we don't have like at least you probably feel differently. We don't have like one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the league. We don't have like that dynamic Josh Allen.
Mac Daddy. Everybody. And we'll go back to the Patriots real quick. I really think, and I've seen people talk about this, I think Bill Belichick might be trying to play kind of a positionless secondary where your safeties and corners just play this zone man combo where it just all meshes together because we have really good fucking safeties. I mean, Kyle Duggar is a really good safety who could also play linebacker because he's just really good at rushing the gap. And we have Devin McCourty who's coming back, who's a really good coverage safety. We have what's his name off of the Chargers? Why can't I think of it now? Phillips is his last name. I can't think of his first name, but he's also really good in coverage. That's 3 right there. I think I'm even forgetting a safety that we have. Maybe it was Patrick Chung who retired last year. But then we have Jalen Mills, who's also very good at playing a couple different positions. So we have 4 guys right there that are all interchangeable. We have a really good slot corner. So I think it's going to kind of be like this crazy mesh defense, and I hope it works. I don't know. I think he might actually pioneer something this season if it does work, to where teams kind of say, you know, these top corners make too much. Let's just kind of go with this zone defense where everybody knows how to play a couple of different positions to trick defense, to trick a quarterback.
It doesn't matter if you don't throw. If
Yeah.
you just use Jonathan Taylor and you only throw for 56 yards. I can't believe Carson Wentz, like that game between us, like he threw for I think like 56 yards, and like as soon as he started throwing late in the game, he got like picked off, and I was like, oh fuck, like just run the ball, just run the ball. But we don't have to worry about Carson Wentz anymore. Anything else you can think of before we wrap this up?
I'll go best signings of the offseason. Is the Bengals with their 2 offensive linemen they signed, Lyle Collins and Ted Karras. Ted Karras is pretty good. And then they traded for Bates, I think his name was. 3 offensive linemen there. That right off the bat is a great way to help Joe Burrow. And then the Chiefs with Juju. I think Juju's perfect for the Chiefs. He's going to play so well this year. I really think so because he's so fast. And they reward speed so much on that offense, and he's so much better than Mecole Hardman. And you've seen what Mecole Hardman's been able to do. You know what I mean? So as long as he stays healthy, I think it's going to be huge.
I think the league is fucking stupid for doing that to Juju. Like, I mean, I know he's kind of immature. I know he does the TikTok and blah blah blah.
Who cares?
He's a good. Yeah, I think he's a good receiver, and like all these teams not giving him the time of day because he does TikToks and he plays video games. It's like you're missing out. And now look what happened. The fucking Chiefs have him.
Yeah,
way to go. Way to fucking go.
Way to go, idiots.
God.
Including the Patriots, man. He would have been perfect for
the Colts in there. I would have liked to have Juju. God damn it. And the Chiefs always do this. They always get like a receiver. Who they don't need anybody. They're so good already. They don't need any more weapons. It's just the rich get richer because the poor are fucking stupid and they don't want to sign good players.
And last best signing I have is JC Jackson. Incredible. Not even, I mean, it was a lot for a corner, but not that much, you know what I mean, for a guy on the free agent market who probably had other bidders. It's just the best addition they could have had to an already Khalil Mack on that defense.
You don't think Christian Kirk was the best signing?
Worst signing. It is the worst signing. Probably the past 10 years. Not like maybe Albert Hainsworth. Was that more than 10 years ago? Holy fucking shit. That was probably over 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Was it like 2009, 2008?
Yeah, probably. Like wow. Man.
We're old.
We're old men.
We are old men. I remember there were like no players in the league that were older than me or that were younger than me. And now
imagine when you couldn't even select your age.
Yeah.
You were too young.
Now we are older than like a decent chunk of players in the NFL.
Older than dust.
I don't like that. Well, all right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll probably be back at some point. Because we'll be back in the future. There's still a decent amount of moves to be made. There's still some pretty big names out there. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then the draft's coming up. So thanks for tuning in with us. I'm Zach.
I'm Bill.
And we'll see you next time, folks. If I can end the broadcast.